Right now at 6 o'clock, we have breaking news in Cheshire. Interstate 84 West is closed because of a crash. Lauren Zenzi standing by with everything you need to know.
And protecting access to abortion medication here in Connecticut. Why state leaders are now taking action.
Also, the Yukon men have arrived in the Lone Star State, but not before they got a big send-off from Husky Nation in stores. All of that excitement is ahead.
Breaking news now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good morning. Thanks so much for being with us. We're starting off with breaking news on the roads. Thanks for being with us, America Arias.
And I'm Tim Lambers. Yeah, I-84 West in Cheshire closed because of a crash. So we've got Lauren Zenzi just to try to wrap our heads around everything that happened. And can we talk about how to get around it at this point?
Yes, we're going to talk detours in just a minute. Tim and Erica, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, this is just unfortunately going to cause a mess for the morning commute. Let's bring it out into the Cheshire area on I-84 westbound. It has been completely shut down for over an hour now. This is between exits 26 and 25A. Now let's bring you out to some live pictures of the scene. We do know that at least 2 tractor trailers, 1 vehicle, and a state police cruiser are involved. State Police Troop A are attributing this to some icy conditions out in the roadway, so just be mindful of this if you are heading out the door. This is causing a several-mile backup at this point. We do know, like I said, 2 tractor trailers, a state police cruiser. The state police trooper was not in the vehicle at the time. We do know minor injuries were reported. They have been transferred to St. Mary's Hospital, not the state trooper, one of the other people involved in the crash. Now let's bring you out to a detour because this is impacting the morning commute significantly. Your best bet if you are in this area is to take Route 322 over to Route 844, otherwise known as Meriden Road. That is going to be your best way around this because unfortunately, we don't know when this is going to reopen. Now, we also have another crash over in the Wallingford area. This is on the southbound side of I-91, right at exit 15. Causing about a 1.5 mile backup. Now, as I like to try and do, and with a good note, 91, 84, Route 2, in and out of the capital city, all looking good. We'll check back in on the roads coming up in the next half hour. For now, let's get a check on the forecast. Meteorologist Matt Scott.
I think the weekend's going to end on a good note. I think
That's a good
getting
thing.
to the end of the weekend may be a little problematic. We'll talk about that coming up. Good to have you along. 6:02. Snow last night. Yeah, did you sleep through it? I did, but it left a coating, 1/2 inch to an inch in higher elevations. Minimal trouble, but be wary of some patchy black ice out there. Breezy, chilled sun for today, and a split decision on that weekend. We'll talk about that coming up. 31, it's cool in Hartford, 33 in New Haven, 32 in Groton, down to 25, Torrington and Waterbury. Factor in the winds, and it takes a sizable chunk off of those temperatures. Dress for the upper teens to 20 degrees this hour. There goes the snow. In, out, done. By about 4 a.m., that was clearing the state, and there's nothing behind it other than colder air and a breeze out of the north and west. Stand by for that. So 29 for the high schoolers getting on the bus this hour as the sun comes up. Later on, 41, but again, dress for the lower 30s, lower to mid 30s in the afternoon. We have bigger numbers and a couple of issues for the weekend. We'll talk about it all coming up. Erica.
All right, Matt, thanks. Windsor Locks is taking extra steps to keep their schools safe. In a meeting last night, the town decided to hire more resource officers so that each school will always have an officer in the building.
Now, Fox 61's Lindsay Kane is live in Windsor Locks with more on the decision and how much it will cost. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Well, each of the 4 public schools in town will now have their own school resource officer by the start of next school year. It's a decision town officials say will give staff and parents some added peace of mind. Now, in a meeting last night, dozens of parents came out to speak in support of adding additional resource officers. A decision was supposed to be made on Tuesday night. However, no one could come up with where that money was going to be coming from. But in yesterday's meeting, the Board of Education officially allocated $110,000 to hire more officers, at least 1 in every school. The meeting was already scheduled, but with the school shooting in Nashville that killed 3 9-year-olds and 3 staff members earlier this week, some parents were shaken up, speaking out on why they feel 3 additional resource officers need to be hired. The town has seen swatting incidents in their schools. Now, parents say these officers are an added layer of protection.
Don't want anything like that happening in our little town. We've already had a couple scares already. and really don't want it to actually happen. So hopefully having the SROs will prevent that.
Windsor Locks High School is the only school in the district right now that already has a school resource officer, but now after this decision has been made, 3 additional resource officers will be hired for the start of next school year. Live in Windsor Locks, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Hey, Lindsay, thank you. Well, today, Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin will deliver an update to the business community on his proposed budget for the upcoming year.
And this is an annual address. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin is live at Dunkin' Donuts Park this morning with more on what he is expected to hit on. Brooke, good morning.
Good morning to you both. Mayor Luke Bronin has 10 points that he's really going to be hitting on and touching on today, all of which is a message focusing on the stability and the growth that the city of Hartford has found over the past couple of years and wants to continue to look for in the next upcoming year. His 8th and final proposed budget is set at more than $619 million. His office says the budget is prioritizing core city services and making investments that would improve the overall quality of life. The address will be given to the Metro Hartford Alliance later this morning. He says this year they're not using one-time funds or borrowing money, not increasing property taxes, providing tax relief, holding overall spending increases to just over 3%, increasing some city staff wages and adding positions, expanding hours and services at rec centers and libraries, increasing staff at the 911 dispatch centers and the fire marshal's office, adding position at Public Works, continuing funding for the capital improvement plan, and not using the American Rescue Plan funds to balance his budget. He said Monday during the State of the State address that the city has come a long way since almost being bankrupt in 2016.
We confronted that crisis honestly. We made tough cuts, and we built a partnership that helped to put the city of Hartford on a strong and stable foundation. And then we did the work of rebuilding.
And he says while he is very proud of this budget and his time in office, there's still quite a bit of work that can still be done. We will have the full story of this address that he's giving later today. Live in Hartford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
At the state capitol this morning, state lawmakers say that they're taking action after Walgreens announced that it would stop distributing abortion pills in 20 states. Now, that does not include Connecticut. Last month, Walgreens said it would stop selling the medication mifepristone in certain states. Now, in its response to letters from Republican state attorneys general threatening the company with legal action. Right now, mifepristone is still legal in all U.S. states. It is commonly used alongside another drug, misoprostol, to end pregnancy. Medications, abortions, accounting for more than half of all of the abortions here in the U.S.
If these companies will knuckle over so easily for these politicians in these other states, there's no reason why they wouldn't do it here.
This is some pretty darn political stuff here. Let me tell you, this is somewhat shocking to me.
Democrats in Connecticut introduced a bill this month to ban state contracts with or payments to any business that has a policy of declining to dispense reproductive health care medication in any state. The road to the championship continues this morning as UConn fans count down the days until Saturday's Final Four.
Yep, the 4th-seeded Huskies are going to face off against a 5-seed, the Miami Hurricanes, Saturday night in Houston. And new from overnight, we do have video from our sister station in Houston of the Huskies arriving ahead of Saturday's game. This is going to be the team's 6th Final Four in history. The program is looking for its 5th national title. And if they can get it, that means Connecticut would be tied with Indiana and UConn's longtime enemy, Duke, for the 4th most championships in men's history.
And fans gathered in stores yesterday to give the team a proper send-off. As you can imagine, fans are fired up about UConn's Final Four appearance. For many, being a UConn fan is a way of life and a big part of growing up here in Connecticut.
I'm really excited. My whole family's been UConn fans since I was little.
It's something that my parents did with me when I was his age, so trying to keep the tradition going. I went to UConn. I went to UConn grad school. I had my baby shower for him here. We had a Yukon cake from the dairy bar at our wedding, so we're avid fans.
Definitely a huge fan there. It will certainly be a great game to watch for sure. Unfortunately, for some folks, it's a little bit late.
I know, yeah. But you see,
I was talking to my dad about it yesterday. He's like, yeah, it's kind of late, though, because he likes to be in bed a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, it's worth staying up for, right?
Yes.
They're the second of the two national semifinal games Saturday night, so tip time is 8:49. It is on the late side, yeah. Fox 61 sports director Jonah Karp is going to be live in Houston a little later this week. You can also follow the Huskies on fox61.com, our free Fox 61 News app, and on Fox 61 Plus for Roku and Amazon Fire TV.